Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indieheads podcast. I'm your host, Matty, aka Rikaiji. On this week's podcast, we have
Stefan, aka Apotheosis 91.
And AJ, I'm enjoying some cheese.
AJ doesn't say his Reddit account because he got shadow banned and never made a new account.
I'm gonna make
wait,
a new
really?
one really soon. Yeah,
Are you actually okay? When are you gonna make a new account? You said really soon now.
probably like whenever I decide to. I got home today and was almost gonna do it, and I played Dark Souls.
God damn, you gotta make a new Reddit account, AJ.
I will. I even I have a list of all of the subs I want to not include on the new one that I have in my old one.
It's been close to a year since you've been shadow banned. I think.
Wait,
Yeah,
really?
Maybe I've already made one and haven't told you guys.
Ooh, but yeah,
No.
yeah, Stefan. He's been shadow banned for the past few months, and he's never made a new account since. He just got shadow banned. I don't know why, but it was just oh, whatever. Usually it's
yeah,
oh.
I never even posted that much, and just they targeted me. You could just easily you could more easily ban Jeremiah and just be yeah, you're too much. We can't have that stuff.
Oh god.
And they just picked. I probably commented on one thing and was like, haha, this is good, and then they were just like, fuck off.
And I think that's funny is that you were one of the first. You're a podcast OG. You're on the first podcast, and it's you barely posted on Reddit anyway. So I don't know. It's weird. Is there any podcasting? Oh yeah, by the way, guys, really quick news. We're skipping news this week. We're gonna do a podcast on Saturday, then we'll do news there. But Symbol is finally on Android, guys. It's in Android beta, so if you've been wanting to follow, we've been plugging it for months now on the podcast. So if you have an Android, go find that beta. Go follow us. We just hit 1,100 subscribers, 1,100 followers today, and I think at 1250 we're gonna do a giveaway. So keep following us. You may be able to win a prize.
It's probably going to be a download code.
Yeah, I'll probably get a download code to because we hit 1,000 followers, and oh, by the way, hold on, let me pull up the email real quick, because we actually did, of course, on the last podcast we announced we're doing a giveaway at 1,000 followers on Symbol. We'd be giving away Teens of Denial, a download link to it that I would get from Matador, and congratulations to Symbol user Jacob. I don't know if I should say his last name. Hold on. I'm very unprepared right now, guys. I'm gonna just keep doing filler words right now while I look for this guy's profile real quick.
Teens of Denial is good though. Listen to it.
It's a good album. We're gonna discuss it on the next podcast on Saturday. Oh, Jacob Tannen. Congratulations to user Jacob Tannen for winning Teens of Denial. Go follow him at Jacob Tannen on Symbol. He's posting some good stuff. He just posted some Beach Boys. Wouldn't it be nice? Great song off a Goat album right there. Goat as in there's goats on the album cover, and Goat as in it's a greatest of all time album. So
Holy shit, it's actually the literal goat.
Exactly. Come on, man. Okay, so yeah, that's out of the way. We'll do a giveaway at 1250. Maybe Teens of Denial, maybe another album. We'll probably have some vinyl code we can give away. Anyways, let's get into what we've been listening to this week. And I'll start off with, again, it was funny how you mentioned that Jeremiah was too much. The first song I'm going to talk about is Chance the Rapper, Acid Rap. So it's been
it's a good album.
It's been it's been 2 years since I've listened to this, and it still holds up really well. There's a bunch of great tracks here. And then Coloring Book came out, and I listened to this because Coloring Book just came out, and I'm like, it's been a while since I listened to Acid Rap. Let me make sure I can kind of compare these projects, and I'm like, oh wow, Acid Rap is a lot better. It's a lot better. It makes me sad.
Yeah, I listened. I had a similar experience listening to it on a road trip with some friends. One of them put it on, and I was like, I can't believe how much I miss listening to this album. It's just such a good feeling, and
oh
yeah, it sent me back to when it first dropped, and just how refreshing and galvanizing it was to hear a really strong new voice in the rap scene that was really gonna do some shit. And yeah, it made me feel really good to harken back to those 2013 days, which feel like 10 years ago now. But yeah, Acid Rap is still great.
Mm-hmm.
I have a weird relationship with Acid Rap because when it first came out, I was like, this is probably the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And I spun it a whole lot. Maybe I think the first summer I had after high school, and then afterwards, it was just so ingrained with all of kind of that mood and those memories that I was like, I really never want to listen to this again. But I respect it musically. I just don't think I'll ever listen to it again, just because it's so ingrained in the past for me.
Yeah,
that's fair. This album is like Patio Party 2013 for me.
Yeah, that's literally it.
Yeah, it's definitely summer 2013. It just reminds me of those times. I think I saw Chance in concert a couple months after this mixtape drop. He was touring with Mac Miller at the time, which is crazy to think about. it's just his rise has been like really strange to me. It's not like surprising, but it's just so weird to see how he went from like before Acid Rap, he was still kind of unknown. Like I think he had a couple of I think Charles Gambino co-signed him and put him on his mixtape, so people knew about him. But it wasn't really until Acid Rap came out that he just like completely blew the fuck up. It wasn't just it was just from like this level to like this level. Like he went from
And
like
even in 2013, I saw him live, and he was kind of bad. Like he was definitely it definitely I think even surprised him because he was not ready to be performing at the level he was in 2013. He's a lot better now, but he was not good when I saw him in 2013, like at all.
I mean, I liked him. I mean,
Yeah,
I saw him. I liked him I liked him live. I thought he was all right. I expected like when I went to the concert, I expected a lot of people to be terrible. I expected like, let's see, I think that tour was so big. By the way, it was like Vince Staples, The Internet, Earl Sweatshirt, Chance the Rapper, and then Mac Miller.
Jesus.
Like I think Vince's set I missed because I was still in line, which at the time I didn't really like Vince anyway, so I was like, oh whatever. And I missed like at the time I really was into The Internet, so I missed like a bunch of their set, and I was really sad about that. Like, I only saw like one song. Earl was a lot better live than I expected. He had a lot of energy live that I was like, oh shit, I'm really excited for Doors, and that came out, and I'm like, oh wow, whatever energy he had in that live show was not on this album.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I didn't put that together that like you had seen him immediately like pre-Doris, which is kind of an interesting era of his career.
Mm-hmm. And I was just, I haven't actually listened to Doris in a while, but I didn't like it at all when it came out, and like a year after I still wasn't into it. Maybe I'll be more into it now since like I went through some shit that I feel like I could relate more to the album. But I still, like I said, it's like that 2013 is kind of a weird year for me to listen. Like I don't like listening to albums from that year too much because it's just sort of like it was such a weird era for me, Like it wasn't bad, I wasn't depressed or anything like that. It was just sort of like I kind of like let the past be the past. Like I had that year. Like I kind of want to keep it in a bubble, Sometimes there's exceptions, obviously. Like Death Grips is an exception. Like I got like really into him in 2013, and I still fucking love him today. But I don't really listen to like their plates that much.
Yeah, like the trifecta of like Death Heaven, Prom, and Tim Hecker for me. Like those are 3 2013 albums that I still listen to a lot.
Yeah, and Modern Vampires of the City.
Jesus,
nope, not for me.
Jesus, man.
Neither of those for me.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten to like Vampire Weekend. I feel like I should because I feel like I've listened to I think I've listened to 2 of their albums like one time, and I'm like if I really got into them, I probably would like really dig them because like I play them occasionally on like my radio station. I'm like, wow, these tracks are so much better than everything else we play currently. But anyways, back to Acid Rap. Great fucking project. There's just so many good songs here. It also has like the best song of Chance's career, which is Paranoia, which is like the hidden track on Pusha Man.
Yeah,
I know. AJ, can you leave the room because you can't snitch on me to Jeremiah, okay?
Just do it really quickly. I'm not saying anything about Coloring Book.
Okay, Paranoia and like most of this album has emotional depth that Coloring Book really lacks a lot of the time, and that makes me really sad. That kind of Chance dumbed down his music in some ways for that album. Okay, that's all I have to say. We'll have a more official discussion of Coloring Book like next week. I think we're trying to go for that, but. That's my opinion right now. Is that Coloring Book it's a good album, but like man, it could have been better. I think. All right, anyways, okay. Next album. Speaking of 2013, actually, I decided to revisit. Was this 20? Yeah, it was 2013. Captain Murphy, Duality. So Captain Murphy, if you guys don't know, was the rapping pseudonym of Flying Lotus. Was like a character created.
Yeah.
Those were some like 2013 was like some really fun times, like trying to figure out who Captain Murphy was, because like the reason why
I remember like that hype train because I remember when like Visiting Friends or whatever it was or Between Friends dropped in like summer and everyone was like, who is this Captain Murphy guy? It was insane. And like when 6 months later it came out of those Flying Lotus, it was like, oh my god, that track makes so much more sense. And that like I think as a standalone is one of the best tracks of Flying Lotus's career. Like just the instrumental alone is fantastic.
Yeah, his side projects are all super interesting, especially when he decides to like hop on there. And I love the mysticism it kind of takes on, where it's like, oh, is this really him? Like, who kind of is this? Like, we don't really get that a lot this much, like truly mysterious artists anymore. I think so. The Captain Murphy side project is super interesting in that regard, and I definitely hope we get more from it soon. I also hope we just get more from Flying Low. Fly Low in general.
I think he's right now. He's working on his new album. He's probably always working on an album. He's just like, is he really, really working on an album? Is the question? Cause
Yeah, who knows? Because he like teases new Captain Murphy stuff all the time, and like it is yet to materialize into like an actual project.
Yeah, because from what happened, he gave all the Captain Murphy beats to like Kendrick during like To Pimp a Butterfly, and he never used any of them. I think they kind of laid the groundwork of what To Pimp a Butterfly like sounded like eventually, and that's why he took the beats. But like, I don't think he ever used them, which is like, and Captain Murphy, it's fucking great. Like, Flying Lotus is a great fucking rapper. Like, it's like holy shit. Like, who knew this guy was so good at rapping? Like, this is his first project as a rapper, and it's like holy shit, he's better than like almost anyone on his goddamn label. Like how because like you hear the features in the song, or like I think it's like Jeremiah J and Azizi Simpson or Gibson, and it's like, oh wow, they sound so much. Again, he sounds so much better than they do, and it's like, and there's some like crazy flows here. I'm trying to remember which track here has like a crazy ass flow. Oh yeah, Drive Through. Drive Through is such a crazy flow where it's like, oh my god, he's like really like it's just so And of course, like the mysticism was awesome. Like trying to figure out like who the hell was this guy, and you know, listening to the project now, it's like, how the hell do we not figure out it was Flying Lotus? Like it was so fucking obvious. But yeah,
because he revealed it after or like right before Duality dropped. But yeah, like
it was
back on Visiting Friends, it's like so his imprint.
I think it was actually after because he had a concert like after this album dropped, and then it was like, oh shit, it's Flying Lotus.
Maybe they were like within days of each other because I remember it the other way around. But it had to have been like a surprise drop thing, I think. Yeah,
Duality wasn't a surprise drop. It was like pretty hyped up. There was But yeah, it's just this project is insane. It's just like it's still fucking cool. I mean, again, it still holds up really well. By the way, like it came out in 2013, and it's like I listened to it randomly. I'm like, I just listen to this. I'm kind of bored, and it's like, oh wow, this is still fucking great, and it's a really great like concept record, and like the skits and like is really interesting, and it has great production because it's fucking Flying Lotus, and like his team of producers is amazing. Like on you have like Madlib, Just Blaze, Jeremiah J. Flylo himself, fucking Alejandro Jodorowsky produces a track in here, but I think it's like a cut from like a soundtrack that he used for a beat, and it's like, oh my god.
I'm not sure if he like actually produced it or if he just sort of has to give him credit for that one.
I think it was from a soundtrack, and that's why I gave him the credit. Because I remember when it came out, I was trying to figure out who he was, and I'm like, who? He's like a film director. Like I think I'm getting the wrong guy. I don't know who this guy is. Of course, now like after like 3 years later and knowing who Jodorowsky is through like watching like YMS, it's like, oh, I know who he is now. Still never seen a film from him, but I know who he is. But yeah, Duality, great album. It says wait again. It says 2012. Wait, shit, did this come out in 2012?
It was like November 2012. I remember.
Shit, I thought this came out in like 2013. Fuck.
No, yeah, I remember it was like late 2012 because I remember listening to it to see if it was like gonna make my end of the year list, which it didn't. But I still really like appreciate and respect the project.
Oh god, it's been 4 years, man. Flying Lotus, where you at? Again, we want new Captain Murphy, man. Like, come on. Shit, man. It's been so long. And then, like, everything, like, I think he's dropped a couple tracks. Like, there's some stuff on the GTA 5 soundtrack, and I think he dropped, like, I know he dropped a track with, like, MF Doom and Earl Sweatshirt, but those singles were kind of, like, disappointing. Like, they weren't bad, but it was like, man, nothing as good as this project, though. But
yeah, Between Villains was definitely not a worthy follow-up to Between Friends, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. It's like, because it has all these names together, it's like, oh, Doom, Earl, Captain Murphy, and it's like, oh, this is just kind of okay. And then the tracks,
like the lowest effort from all of them.
Yeah, and it's like, you hear the tracks on GTA 5, you're like, there's like, I think there's one track on there I really like, but like...
Stonecutters is a friggin' great track.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, oh, this is kind of meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Duality, great project. It's... Jesus Christ, I didn't realize it was in 2012. I'm looking at my iTunes right now and it says 2012. I just didn't look at it because I'm so like spaced out today. But yeah, anyways, oh fuck, oh god, I've been talking about this way too long. Okay, what have you been listening to, Stefan?
So this week I've been listening to Paradise by Vancouver punk band White Lung. White Lung, I listened to their last album, Deep Fantasy, in 2014 and kind of regretted never coming back to it that much because like it really struck me and I saw a lot of potential in this band. And well, like it was rough around the edges and it wasn't great. It made me really excited to see their next album and see if, they'd be able to sort of refine and beef up what they were doing on Deep Fantasy. And that's exactly the album I got here. I'm really satisfied with it. Just a really great collection of punk tracks, really tight songwriting, great lyrics, great melodies. The guitarist on this album is like, he's putting out some of the best guitar hooks I've ever heard. His playing is so good and like so distinctive and really great tones and really great sound. And so, I've been enjoying this album a lot. It's not perfect. I mean, for an only 30-minute album, it does sort of like blur together at a certain point. The strong song structures get a little repetitive, and like the lead singer Mishway, her voice does kind of get a little like monotonous and grating after a while because she really only does use like one vocal cadence the entire album. But she's also like one of the best vocalists in punk right now, so I can't really complain too much there. So I definitely recommend that if you're looking for some nice fist pumping but also thoughtful punk. The other album, I'll preface this by saying that I'm going to annoy any jazz listeners listening to the podcast because I'm going to use the Epic as like a frame of reference a lot because that's like the only jazz album I know. But that was a big album for me and sort of, was one of my favorites of that year and opened up the door for me to kind of explore modern jazz as a genre. And then I never really took that opportunity until this album came out and got like a lot of hype, a lot of good reviews. I haven't said the name of the album. This is Vijay Iyer and Wadada Leo Smith, A Cosmic Rhythm with Each Stroke. And so, this album came out and I thought I'd check it out. When Wadada Leo Smith, actually, he did like one of the best reviewed albums on Metacritic, 10 Freedom Summers, which seems to be kind of like a forebearer to the Epic in that it's this like super long, elaborate jazz album. And so I was, expecting maybe to like find a bit more of that like really lush Epic sound, but with just a bit of a more like distinctive jazz sensibility. And I got kind of just the opposite of that. Like this album the Epic was so joyful and playful, and this thing is just like cold, modernist, calculating, like super heady, and to the point where this almost feels to me like a modern classical album that just happens to use jazz scales. Like there's stuff on here that reminds me of like Messiaen and Varese. It's really crazy. And so I can't say it necessarily tickled me on a delightful level, but it was a very stimulating album, and there's clearly like been a lot of thought put into the concept of the album. It's a suite that's a kind of tribute to this Indian poet and modern artist. So it's a lot of just like strange, minimalistic, like tense, terse, just pure piano and trumpet textures. And so I'll definitely come back to it a couple times. It was an interesting listening experience for me. No, definitely recommend anyone check it out if you're interested in, I guess, like what the cutting edge of jazz is right now, but doing so with the warning that it's by no means an easy listen, but certainly an interesting one and a worthy one. So I'll be trying to make an effort to come back to that a bit. AJ, what have you been listening to?
Cool. I'm going to preface my segment by being 100% honest and upfront. The things I've been listening to the most are Coloring Book, which we signed a pact to not talk about whatsoever. Even that mention is getting my blood boiling, so I won't do that. And then outside of that, really, it's only been Teens of Denial and Psychopomp, which are just kind of my go-to records for this year. But I do want to bring up one new release, Tired of Tomorrow by Nothing. I'm not going to sell this record well with my description, but it's sort of a shoegaze metal album for people who don't like shoegaze or metal. And it feels like Deaf Heaven Light. The vocals are a lot clearer than those of Deaf Heaven's, but it's just sort of got that like indie emo energy that I'm really, really digging right now. And the singles off of this album were really great. I actually heard them on the alt radio station locally. So that's the first time in a long time that I've heard a song on the radio first and been like, I should check that album out, and then really enjoyed that album. So that still can happen in 2016, which really surprised me. But for anyone who's looking for like a really good indie like rock, not like indie rock album, definitely check out Tired of Tomorrow by Nothing. And then I want to do two quick shout outs, since we're not talking about them here, to the brand new single, which is not that good, but kind of all right. It's not as good as Maine, whatever they call the one they dropped last year, but the chorus is really good. The verses are awful. And then the new Bad Bad Not Good single with Sam Herring is probably my favorite song of the year so far. It's groovy. Sam Herring never ever gives a bad vocal performance, and like the new Bad Bad Not Good album is probably going to be in my top 10 because I'm really, really anticipating it, and I was hoping we would get it this year, and now that it's confirmed, I cannot wait. I
think it already leaked, actually.
Jesus Christ, really?
Yeah, it leaked like the day they announced it.
All right, can we end this podcast?
Actually, hold on. I want to actually give. Hold on, this is funny. What were you gonna say? Because I think you're gonna talk real quick about Bad Bad Not Good.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say I thought the brand new song, I'm a Nightmare, was better than Manet, but neither of them are that good. Like I'm not excited for the album, and it kind of pains me.
I don't know if there is an album. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe it's just gonna be a singles compilation, like
I was
that's
telling
like that Sophie album.
They just released one, like earlier this year, a singles a demo compilation. But like,
Yeah, it was from all the demos that leaked off Devil and God, like way back before that album was finished, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I was telling Will that I think they're just gonna like release one single a year for the rest of Will's life. Just
And
to
Will's
kinda
mad about
torment
that
him.
because Will's been in the chat saying like, okay, I don't care if this album's good. I need this album to close a chapter of my life. Like I need
It kind of feels like LP9 sort of, in just that like it's been around as like a meme for so long. Like, can we just get it out and get it over with and move on?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I want to get some shouts real quick, actually, because you mentioned shouts album. I didn't really put this on my list, but Liturgy, the artwork. Stefan, we are talking we are talking on Twitter. You listened to the Redeemer by Dean Blunt, which, by the way, my favorite album of all time, and go watch my FYC video on it. It's fantastic. And listen to the album. Obviously, it's amazing. And we were talking about it on Twitter, and we were like sort of like talking about it. It was very interesting, seeing like fuck. Can we? What? God, I'm sorry.
Liturgy, the artwork.
I was gonna talk about that, but I want to talk about Dean Blunt real quick. But we were talking about
No, stop.
yeah.
This is already the James Blake episode. I'm not letting you say. You're lucky I let you say the words Dean Blunt.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, fine. I'll go to Liturgy. We were talking about Dean Blunt, and then Stefan, you brought up Liturgy, and you showed me shit. What was the song name? It's like
Kel Valal, I think, something like that.
Hold on, let me go to my Spotify real quick. I can find it very quickly. It was like the third track on the album. Oh yeah, Kel Valal. Yeah, you were right. And God, that track was fucking amazing. It sounded like it had these horns that like were very like Illinois-esque, like Sufjan Illinois-esque, but like also were like, but like it was like metalized, I guess. Like it was like really like, it was like, let's take like the horns from Illinois, but like let's fucking ramp this shit up like to crazy levels. And you told me, and I was like, I don't, is this sound like, is like, and the vocals, you said it was like, you said it was like black metal, or at least I saw, like, I was looking at Wikipedia and I was like, oh, this is black metal. But like the vocals, there aren't like any screaming vocals. So,
yeah,
like,
if you haven't checked out Aesthetica either, like that's one of the best metal albums of of probably the decade, I would say.
oh, see, are there any like screaming vocals or, because screaming vocals
it's more black metal. It's more black metal vocally than the artwork, which is what turned a lot of people off to the artwork. But Aesthetic is definitely their like standout album. That's the one people think of when they think of Liturgy. It's sort of New Bermuda to holy shit, what's it called? Sunbather. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did I not jump in with that? I should have been on the ball.
Yeah, it's my favorite metal album of all time, and I can't remember the name of it right now.
Because that's the thing that's always kind of held me back from black metal was the screaming vocals. It's just like I can't do it. Like it doesn't work for me. But like I really like the artwork because it doesn't have those screaming vocals. And like,
hey, you should check out "Tired of Tomorrow" by Nothing then, because it's got really metal style riffs but very clean vocals.
Yeah, I glossed over that album when I read the review for it, but your write up or like talk up for it, I should say, has me interested. I'm definitely going to go check that out.
Yeah,
that sounds very up my alley.
Shoegaze in your metal, especially.
So yeah, again, the artwork, back to that, really interesting. The production is really interesting, as it sort of like it's like it's very metal inspired, but the vocals are not very metal. They're kind of like it sounds like normal. I don't know how to describe the vocals other than like they sound normal, and like the horns are really interesting, and some of the production stuff where it's like at times it gets kind of glitchy, which is really really interesting. Where it kind of like starts like you'll have a sound that's like like kind of like it sounds like you just like kind of clipped it and like not clipping. Where it just sounds like you just like you cut and pasted like a certain part. You just like you copied a part and then just paste. Like
yeah, it's like a stuttering kind of sample.
And it's really interesting. But yeah, I need to listen to this album more, as I actually really enjoyed it. And
if you like thought Valal was great and fucking get to Rain Array, that is like still my song of the year 2015. Like that. I haven't listened to much Liturgy, and I didn't love the artwork head over heels, but that track justifies Liturgy's entire existence for me. It is. Oh, so good.
See, right now I'm remembering the Here Lies music review, where he literally, the review is just him singing in bed, like it's like him putting on earplugs.
Yeah.
it puts on the earplugs. It's like, and I listen, I'm like, it's not that bad. It's not like it's like it crushes my ears. It's like, this is really like, why is it so bad that you have to put earplugs on? It's not that bad.
It does have grating percussion sometimes, or not percussion, production sometimes. Like, you definitely get ear fatigued a little listening to that album, especially if you're not doing it on the right pair of speakers. Like, I listened to it in my car for the first time and hated it and didn't come back to it for months and months after. But yeah, people shit on that album a lot, except for Fantano. Basically, he was the only one who like was like, this had potential. This is okay. And especially like within metal, people absolutely hate Liturgy, and kind of fairly, because like the singer does get kind of arrogant about his like ideas about making transcendental black metal or whatever. When like really
they're a
Liturgy
lot,
have just
yeah.
evolved into like an alternative metal sound. Like that's what it is. It's metal, but a little different.
They're
It's
a
not
lot like
better or
Def
worse than
Heaven
anything.
in that they're doing, exciting, accessible things for, I'm doing air quotes that you can't see, but for metalheads, that's the worst thing you could ever do because
Yeah.
I need to have found my music and it needs to sound like it came out of a dumpster in a back alley of an industrial Russian city in the 1930s. And like, ugh, if, a mainstream publication is writing about this and talking about metal, I don't like it. Ugh.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on that, and not to like shit on the entire contingent of metalheads, but yeah, a lot of the time within metal, anything that is like either new or different just immediately gets written off, and it's very frustrating as someone who like wants the genre to evolve.
Metal's a self-defeating genre to get into because like if you're trying to get into it, like the stuff that will be recommended is sort of people are recommending it and enjoying it because they have this established kind of taste. And like I think metal is the most like taste specific broad genre. Like two people can love metal and like have completely different ideas of what they enjoy.
Well, because part of it is like the MySpace era, to get into a little bit. It set up this weird like subgenreification of metal where now it's like if we categorized music like on Indieheads the way like r/metal does,
Holy
like
shit, yeah.
everyone would have their own genre, but like that's what they want over there. And like, yeah, it gets into these weird like status wars that are completely arbitrary, where people are like, music that sounds like metal, like this isn't metal because of like the specific lineage of this like kind of music that sounds identical to the rest of the genre, but we're gonna shit on it anyway.
Just for example, my personal preferences in metal, I'm not even a huge black metal guy. Like Def Heaven is kind of as black metal as I'll go, but I like stoner, sludge, and doom metal is what I look for a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and let's see, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was actually gonna mention there's this post. Like, if you guys don't know, I moderate r/popheads on Reddit, and we stickied a post the other day that was like someone hating on the sub. So this comes from metal fans so far. I mean, I think like for my radio station, like our new program director is a metalhead, and he's great, and I love him. He's a really good guy. And anyways, so this comes from Popheads from user/Lord Vijay. So you can already tell this guy's like 13, 15 years old. All right, and the post is called "Everyone in the Sub is a huge fucking fag. Metal all the way. You guys are grown-ass adults listening to Ariana Grande and Britney. Losers." And pretty much right after this post, we banned him, and there are 172 comments, and almost all of them are roasting his ass, and it is glorious.
That's amazing.
And the top comment is, "Being a fag is fabulous. Buy Into You on iTunes." And that's the perfect response. Okay,
that's the best way to respond to anything. I had a woman call me a girl on stage last week, and I was like, "Thank you." And she had no power after that.
Oh god. Oh yeah. By the way, Stefan is a stand-up guy. He's a stand-up comedian. Where can people find your stuff, Stefan?
Amateur stand-up comedian. They can find it in person, which is too bad because literally, I think there's one Edmontonian on the subreddit. Shout out to _Meowth. We'll meet up one day. Yeah, I still am lazy and a perfectionist and like have not put any of my stuff up on YouTube yet, which I really regret because now I have like a well of decent material that would like be okay to put out on YouTube, but like it's been so long that I just don't feel like doing it anymore. And like,
wait,
you're not into.
You said Edmontonian?
Yeah.
Is that Minnesota?
No, that's Edmonton.
It's Canada. He's Canadian.
Okay. I just remember that someone in our chat's from Minnesota, and I don't remember who it is.
That's Jake.
Keaton?
No, Jake is from Minnesota. Keaton's from Montana.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
And Josiah's like, is he from Michigan?
Yeah, Josiah is from like northern Michigan. Well, not northern Michigan. He's like he lives 3 hours away from me. Like you and Josiah live like the same, very close to the same distance away from me. And Josiah's in the same state. That's Michigan for you, though.
But you just moved to like Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's public loan information. So if you want to meet the real AJ, can we say your last name on this podcast or no?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
You can meet the real AJ Moser in person somewhere in Minnesota. And also at the Pitchfork Music Festival from July 14th to the 17th. We're all going to be there. I'm going to be there. AJ's going to be there. Jeremiah's going to be there. Josiah's going to be there. Jake's going to be there. Alex is going to be there.
I'm going to be buying booze for minors. So if you're under Anyone, come find
Don't.
me and
Okay,
I'll buy you
no.
alcohol.
He is. Okay. For any, if there are any police watching this, AJ is making a joke. This is a satirical podcast. This is not actually happening. So yeah. Anyways, we should probably get to our main topic. Which let's see.
It's been long enough. Let's get into it.
Let's see. Do we want to do Death Grips or James Blake first? Because we were originally going to do James Blake first because Will isn't here. But
Let's do Death Grips first because I feel like I don't know. I want to end with James Blake. It just feels right because that's the album I love more.
Yeah, and I think Bottomless Pit doesn't have as much discussion. Isn't as discussion worthy. Like it's still worth discussing, but it's not as like. I mean, James Blake is just like it's James Blake. I mean, come on. But anyways,
I can either talk about Death Grips first or last because I really have a blanket statement to make and then not much else to contribute.
Yeah, then we'll do Death Grips first.
Okay, so I'll start first. Okay, so Bottomless Pit is the 5th studio album, 6 if you count Ex-Military, from experimental hip hop band Death Grips. Death Grips have been at it, since late 2010, but really kind of came up in like 2011 when they dropped Ex-Military, which is in my opinion the best mixtape of all time. You can fight me on that, hip hop heads, but it's my favorite mixtape of all time. They came out of nowhere essentially. It was just like, holy shit, this band, it's like they were really something different in hip hop, because I think like that era of hip hop was such an interesting time, as it was kind of stagnating a little bit from what I can tell.
It was in a bit of growing pains because like things were going, like there was momentum, like Drake was coming out and doing something different, but we were still kind of in like the shadow of like 2006 to 2009 ringtone rap.
Mm-hmm. And and then it wasn't really until like Kanye dropped My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy that the tide kind of changed a little bit. And that was really where hip hop went from, like, because I think Kanye, like, he dropped that, and at the time, like, some mainstream hip hop was just kind of disappointing. It really wasn't. There was no like Jay-Z dropped a really disappointing album. Eminem dropped a really bad album. I'm not even gonna say disappointing. It's just a flat out bad album.
Was that Recovery or
yeah, that was Recovery.
Relapse.
Relapse is like, it has like mixed response, because there's people who really love it now. At the time they were like, but now they're like, oh, I love this. And then,
let me tell you a hot story here. Being from Michigan, there's no bad Eminem album. No one has ever been meh on an Eminem album. Every single one is the greatest album of all time.
Being from a white upper class suburb, the same.
Yeah.
Eminem fans. Yeah, I live in Illinois. Like, but not Eminem fans. People from Michigan. That's true.
Specifically the Metro Detroit area, which is where I'm from.
Because I live next to St. Louis, so I can't really say. Anyways, fuck it. Okay, so again, at the time, hip hop was like really changing. Like, it was kind of where the underground was kind of rising up a little bit, because the internet was becoming like this huge influential thing in hip hop. And Death Grips were kind of at the forefront. One of the bands, or artists are at the forefront of the internet. You had like Soulja Boy. First thing, Soulja Boy. Say what you want about Soulja Boy. You could say, oh, his music sucks, but guess what? That dude is very influential in how people promote themselves on the internet, because he really was like the first like hip hop artist to get big off the internet. All right, all these rappers you like that came from the internet, you can thank Soulja Boy, because he was the one who started it all. And of course, Lil B came in, refined the formula, and then of course all these artists started coming out of nowhere. Like 2011 was like a really awesome year for hip hop. Of course, Death Grips, Danny Brown, Odd Future blew up at that time, and they were like really something different. I think Watch the Throne came out that year.
Yeah. And
there was all these like really cool, awesome things happening in hip hop that year that were like really interesting. It was like a really transitional time for hip hop, where like bands that wouldn't have gotten popular like even like 3 years ago somehow were like huge. Like, I think I'm forgetting like Shabazz Palaces, like Killer Mike was 2012, and then 2012
that was 2013 was Run the Jewel. Oh yeah, no, rap music was 2012. And also for like the 2011 wave, like not strictly hip hop, but I would lump The Weeknd in there too, because like him and Drake in 2011 were the dream team on like a whole other level.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I think James Blake was blowing up at the time too. He dropped his album, and but 2011 was a very interesting and good time for hip hop. Well, it's kind of this year and 2015 were kind of like, 2014 was kind of 2015 was like, okay, this is a lot better, and 2016 is kind of like again. There's some good stuff, but it's like like this year in general has been kind of slow until like recently, where now it's like, okay, we're really getting some great releases now. But anyways, Death Grips, again, so they dropped Ex-Military in 2011. It's a great mixtape, gets a lot of buzz, so much buzz that they signed to Epic Records in 2012. They released The Money Store on Epic Records, and then over the course of a few months, they have a falling out with Epic, then leak their third album, No Love Deep Web, for everyone on the internet. Leaked it, just completely out of nowhere, just leaked it. I think there was like an arg on like 4chan beforehand, but only like a few people knew about it. So like generally the release of No Love Deep Web was a complete surprise, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, new Death Grips album!" They got dropped from their label. Then a year later, dropped Government Plates. Kind of has like a weird response from fans, where there's some people who still really like it and think it's a great Death Grips album, but there's some people like, the famous Death Grips fanboy Anthony Fantano was like, 6 out of 10. And
Which I agree with, frankly.
I don't agree with a 6, but I definitely can say like it's definitely like my least favorite Death Grips album.
Government Plates isn't their worst album, I'll say.
It's not their worst album. I mean, if we're
That's
talking,
true.
if we're counting like the instrumental albums and whatnot, it's definitely not the worst. But like if we're talking like,
I don't count those at all. Counting their kind of like what you would consider the Death Grips albums.
Yeah, if we're talking like legit albums, it's probably my least favorite. But that's going to be a discussion because I know AJ, you have some interesting thoughts on this album. Anyways, okay, 2014, they surprise drop another album, Redacted on the Moon. It's fucking amazing. It's like such a forward-thinking hip-hop album with the Bjork samples and like MC Wright going crazy, and it's like all on V drum kits, like Zach Hill goes wild, and it's like, oh my god, how does this even exist? It's fucking amazing, and like this album is like way ahead of its time, and like all these critics like were hating on it when it came out, and it's like, you guys are fucking stupid. In like 10 years, you're gonna think, holy shit, how did we hate on this? You're gonna give like,
yeah, absolutely. I think when people in 10 years read the reviews for Redacted on the Moon, they're going to be like, "Oh, we just literally did not get it. Like it was too much to like comprehend on a second day listen."
I loved it like from the initial get go, and I know Matty did too.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
but I think my second listen, I was like, "This could be better than The Money Store," which it didn't end up being. But I was like, "This is so close to being."
I'll go that far. I like it more than The Money Store.
Money Store is like a different league of album than that for me, but it's their second best album for sure by a very close margin.
It was also,
I would agree with Stefan.
It was also the second best experimental hip hop album of 2014.
Oh, what was number one, AJ? I want to know.
Clipping.
No, it wasn't.
No, oh god. You know what? Hey, look. Clipping. All right, Clipping the album. It's good, but like when Fantano gave it like a 9 and shit, it's like, okay, 9. No, like you must have not really. Again, you're like, okay, no, this is not. Like, Daveed Diggs, very good rapper. Like, he's fantastic. And I think, like, again, he's, like, killing it right now on, like, Broadway doing, like, Hamilton and shit. Like, he got nominated for a fucking... That's so weird to me. Can we, like, discuss that for, like,
Daveed Diggs on Jimmy Fallon. Did a song off of Clipping on Jimmy Fallon.
I saw the video of him on Fallon, and then, like, I just saw the little, like, Facebook headline. It was, like, Hamilton star Daveed Diggs. And I was like, wait, what? And then I read it, like... There were articles that, like, 6 things you need to know about Hamilton superstar Daveed Diggs. None of them mentioned Clipping. Like...
Jesus. But he played a Clipping song on...
Yeah, and Questlove was the only one who knew what he was talking about. Jimmy Fallon was like, he's making it up.
I know. So that's so crazy to me. Like, he goes from, like, being in, like, this, like, a kind of like a struggle rapper to getting this, like, experimental hip-hop group to, like, going on fucking Broadway and, like, being nominated for a Tony that he's probably gonna win because it's, like, it's goddamn Hamilton. That shit's, like, the buzziest musical in a long time.
If all the moms who bought the Hamilton soundtrack on CD like listen to Body and Blood, I just want to see that happen.
Okay, anyways, back to Death Grips. So then Ginny Death, God, Ginny Death, what a crazy time to be alive as a Death Grips fan.
What a meme.
God, that hype cycle, it was emotionally draining.
It stands alone as the best Death Grips release.
No,
boy, if you don't, if you don't, Ginny Death. Okay, Ginny Death is like my 4th favorite Death Grips album, but like, it was worth the hype. Let me get that very clear. It was definitely worth the hype. But like, boy, trying to say that's your favorite Death Grips album, get out of here, get out.
I've never had an album like completely defy my expectations, but also give me everything I never knew I wanted at the same time.
Boy, but yeah, Ginny Death is great. It's fantastic. But anyways, so then they announced, of course, during like the Ginny Death cycle, which I think we have, like, I think if you go listen to our Ginny Death discussion, like I think I go through everything there, or you can go through, or you can look or go read my album of the year 2015 write up that I did for Death Grips on the subreddit. Anyways, so they broke up, but in reality didn't actually break up. They went on a tour where they played every single date they played, which is rare for Death Grips because they always cancel tours and they don't play tour dates. But it's like, oh shit, they did every goddamn date.
Let me just say, going to the second show of that tour was the most nerve-wracking thing of my life, especially having traveled for it. Like, I remember my cousin and I sitting in his house, like, the night before, like, looking at the live feed of, like, the Portland show on our Death Grips, and we were like, "Is it going to happen? Is it going to
Like, this is actually happening, yeah.
Yeah, and then we
Even
got to the
being
show,
there,
and
I
we were
saw
like,
them I saw them like 2 months later, and even I was like, oh, this isn't going to happen.
because there was still so much that could have gone wrong because it was Vancouver, so it was like, okay, something's going to happen. Like either they're going to flake on the second show, and like the Portland show is going to be the only one that has a show, or like they're going to get stopped at the border. Just like something is going to go wrong, and the collective like euphoria when they actually walked on stage was like one of the craziest things I've ever witnessed. That show was amazing.
Well, yeah, I'll get into that in a little bit, too.
I'm so jealous of you guys because Death Grips, if you guys do not know, are my favorite band of all time.
I think that 15-minute oral history just cleared that up.
Favorite band of all time. I could talk about them like you asked me to talk about anything. Like a girl, again, if you're a girl and you slide in my DMs and you ask like, "Hey, can you tell me the history of Death Grips?" Oh yeah, of course I can, bitch. Like, duh. And I didn't get to see them live, but you guys got this. Almost everyone in the chat saw them live except for me. Because they didn't come to St. Louis.
Like, looking back on it, if I could have traded my ticket for yours, like I would have. Because if there's anyone who deserved that show most, it was you.
Zach Hill.
But they might tour again.
Andy Morin. Stefan Burnett. If any of you are listening to this podcast, which you might be, you might just be bored one day on YouTube and you're like, oh, let's look up some reviews for our album. Just because, like, why not?
I'm sorry.
I need you to come to St. Louis. I need you to book a show in St. Louis. I don't care if it's like I don't care if it's at a festival. Like, I know there's like Lou Fest in St. Louis. I will pay the $90 or whatever, or how much that Lou Fest ticket cost just to see you. Okay? So please come to St. Louis for the love of God. I need to see you before I fucking die. Okay? Anyways, Bottomless Pit.
It's all right.
And that's our discussion. Let's go on to James Blake. James Blake, The Color Anything is the third studio album from James Blake. Okay, anyways, Bottomless Pit. Bottomless Pit's a really interesting album. I think Stefan, are you the one who likes it the most out of everyone here? I want to say.
No, I don't think so. I think I'm pretty cool on it actually, compared to everyone else. I thought. Wait, AJ, so are you living up to your little Palpatine icon for this one? Like, do you really not like it, or I don't know where everyone stands here?
Yeah, I have. I have a kind of story for this album, and okay. It's sort of I never wanted it, and it's here and it's out, and I just like had to force my okay. Like I was saying earlier, Jenny Death, the hype cycle for Jenny Death was insane. I mean, Death Grips are a very contained, incident, and Matty's oral history is good, and I think it's only possible because Death Grips they're 5 years old. They're less than 5 years old as like a group, and so it's just been such an explosive, tumultuous period to be a fan of this group, and like the way those hits just kept coming. The Money Store, No Love, Deep Web, Government Plates, Redacted on the Moon, Jenny Death. All of those were some of the most like exciting and insane just like album releases of all time. Just the way they happened and like the way they hit just in big wave after wave. Like literally, you didn't get a year off of like Death Grips hype, and then the build up to Jenny Death was the most insane thing ever because they broke up after Redacted on the Moon and said it's still coming, don't worry. Like the powers that be is still coming, don't worry. But Jenny Death like soon. And which led to Jenny Death When, which was 9 months of my life was Jenny Death When every day. Did Death Grips like update their website? When are we getting a song? And they would drop, I think they dropped like 2 or 3 singles beforehand, and it was just like, and now it's here. And for me, Jenny Death was anything I ever wanted it to be. And I saw them on the tour. I saw them live. I thought I would never, ever get to do that. And the night I saw them live, actually, I kind of like, after I saw them, I sort of sat there and was like, I think, that was pretty much it. I got everything I think I wanted out of this Death Grips performance and this album, and I have all of these albums that I still really, really love. But like I wish they were done now because like they sort of already broke up and like are getting back together. And then the day someone told me like, hey, Death Grips posted on Facebook and like they announced a new album, and I was like, fuck off, no they didn't, that's not happening. And they were like, no, yeah, here it is. And they were like, yeah, Bottomless Pit, this is it. And I was like, God damn it, why? Like I didn't feel any excitement at all. I just sort of felt this like emptiness where I was just like, I really don't care about this album. And then all of the leading up to it, like the release date came out and I was like, I just don't care. A lot of the songs leaked, and I did listen to those just because like I was mentally programmed to be like, Death Grips songs have leaked, like you go download those and you go listen to those right now, like this is what you have to do. And so I did, and I was like, these are fine, I guess. And Hot Hit's a good single, and I think there are good songs on the album, but like listening to the album, which I had to force myself to do because I still haven't felt any enthusiasm to listen to Bottomless Pit whatsoever. And so it's probably affecting my experience with it, is that I kind of had to force myself to sit and listen to it. But I feel no enthusiasm about this project. And to me, honestly, it's the laziest thing Death Grips have ever done. And I think there are no new ideas on this album whatsoever. And it feels like a complete retread, and it feels completely low effort and almost bottom line commercial. It feels like Death Grips are sort of coasting on. And they're less than 5 years old, which is absurd to say, but it feels like they're coasting on their kind of built legacy. And I just don't like this album, like existing, and I don't like it sonically. I think it's easily their weakest album musically, and I just think there's no new ideas on here, and there's nothing that does anything for me.
Oh fuck, maybe I do like it the most.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm not as negative as AJ on it, but I agree with him for the most part. But I'm not as like, I hate this, because it is a good album. It's Death Grips. It's good. But I do agree that it does seem like it's like a combination of everything they've done that does kind of make like a unique sound, but not unique enough. Like they really, from the get-go, I've described this album as it is a very transitional album. It definitely feels like this is before they reach the next step. Like, okay, let's get this out of our systems, and so we can get to the next step. What is fine.
This though? What do they have to get out here? Like,
I think this album
already released.
This album, I think they are refining their songcrafting. They're going back. The Money Store again was fucking fantastic. It was very like poppy type songs, but like put enough like experimental twist on them that it was like you sometimes you couldn't even tell it was a pop song. It was like, oh shit, this is actually really catchy and kind of poppy, but like the sonics are so fucking like out there that it's like, well, maybe it's not. But this album, yeah, I will agree that it does feel kind of it's clean compared to other Death Grips albums. They're very dirty. This sounds very clean in comparison.
This is the worst thing you can say about a Death Grips, like you could ever possibly say about a Death Grips album, is it's safe. I don't think anyone could deny that this album is safe.
And yeah, I will definitely say it's safe, and that definitely is kind of disappointing, because I actually listened to it before, and every song here, they're like most of the songs here, there's no songs here that I would say are outright bad. There's no outright bad songs on here, but in some of their best departments, Death Grips kind of disappoint a little bit, like the intro, giving good people bad ideas, or giving bad people good ideas. Which is like, it's a good song, but like, as an intro, it's definitely the worst Death Grips intro I've ever heard. But if we're not counting instrumental albums, obviously. But it's like, yeah.
And I think Bottomless Pit is the worst outro.
I like Bottomless Pit. It's definitely, yeah. Worst outro.
Bottomless Pit is a little better, but it's not great. But I would definitely agree. Like, I think, hold on, let me just pull up the track listing. Like, Giving Bad People Good Ideas ahead are the weakest songs on the album. Like, if the album started with spikes.
I 100% disagree.
Oh, if the album started with spikes, I would like it so much more. Like, those songs are all right, but they feel like Jenny Death B-sides to me. Mm-hmm. And then like once they get to spikes, like it feels like they enter something, I mean not new, but something at least that is more Bottomless Pit's own identity as an album.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's some great tricks on here, but I'll let you go, AJ.
Giving Bad People Good Ideas like gave me hope for a hot second. I did actually kind of dig what was happening with like the female vocals there for a little bit. I was like, at least I haven't like seen this before. And then Hothead, I mean, is a good song. It was good when it came out as a single, and then Spikes drops for me. I like I like Trash a little bit, but they both feel like B-sides for Death Grips, which like has never ever happened before. Every song has been like, holy shit, what is this? And these are just like, I've heard it before. You know, it's ironic that my two favorite songs are and Trash, because that's how I feel about Bottomless Pit.
Yeah, I mean, I think like again, like I said, you're hating on Spikes and Warping. It's like, well, those are great tracks, by the way. Spikes and Warping, giving Bad People Good Ideas. It's a good song, but like as an intro, it's like, man, when a band has come through with intros like Beware, Get God, Come Up and Get Me, Leopard Pillbox Hat, Up My Sleeves, goddamn, Up My Sleeves
in the United States,
Break Mirrors, and when they come through with this, it's like, what? Like,
okay,
really?
I will say actually about Break Mirrors with My Face in the United States, this Giving Bad People Good Ideas just feels like a worse version of that. Like it feels like the same archetype. And this is a major criticism of this album for me, is I can't fully say there's a song on this album where Death Grips have done a better version of like that archetype of song.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about this album feels like, kind of a cheap imitation of something we've already done. Every single second of this album.
Okay, you're making me way more negative, but I think I'm agreeing. And also, like, you have so many people like Death Grips fans and are like hyping it up like crazy, and like you have a bunch of blogs that are hyping it up like crazy, and I'm like, are you guys fucking insane? Like, have you been not following Death Grips like since like No Love Deep Web? Because they've been doing a lot of like really musical evolution, and this is like the safest release yet. And I understand. I think like it's weird to see how the music journalism world has kind of like turned on Death Grips since like post like government plates essentially.
I don't think so. This album is getting great reviews. Some of the best reviews.
It's like now it's like that. Now I'm not saying like before. Now like the tide's kind of changing a little bit with this album because it plays it safe, and that's why like certain critics really like this album. But luckily,
critics have definitely written off Powers That Be from the beginning, just because of like how No Love Deep Love was handled, basically.
Powers That Be, they saw it as sort of like a marketing ploy, like, oh, Death Grips are back at it again. They broke up, and now here's this album, and like we'll slap a 6 on it just because it's like, why? How do they think they can do that? And it's like you are dismissing this band's best album and the one they probably put the most work into just because of like the hype and the story surrounding it.
By the way, can I share a crazy fan theory about the breakup? I think they did that just to get out of the Nine Inch Nails tour. Like, I don't think they ever actually had any intention of breaking up. I think that was just the only way they could get out of that tour because they realized late in the game they didn't want to do it.
I can see that.
That's how I see that going down.
I will say this. I legitimately think they may have broken up at some point, but it was a very short-lived breakup. Like, it was... I think maybe... Because they didn't finish... When they announced that they broke up, they weren't finished with Jenny Death yet. They didn't finish Jenny Death until, like, October or August or whatever. Because they didn't turn it until... It was
August.
Yeah, because August is when they finished it. But, like, October is when they announced that the album was, like... Okay, the album was complete. But... I do think, like, when they were finishing Jenny Death, they realized, hey, we have a lot left in the tank, I think, so we should probably keep this going. But I will say, yeah, I think this album plays it safe, maybe as a response to the Powers That Be in some ways. Because Powers That Be was their most riskiest album yet. It was, like, complete risk because, you're going, like, Redacted on the Moon is, like, this crazy futuristic, like, Bjork samples and V-drum kits, which just, like, these beats are completely insane, and, like, no other rapper besides MC Wright could go over them and sound good. And then Jenny Death.
The band themselves said it best when they broke up. They broke up. The given reason was that they were at their best, and they literally were.
Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting to see them come back. And like I said, I've said this is a transitional album. I think it is an album that hopefully is just sort of a stepping stone to something greater and something different. Because I don't want my favorite band playing it safe. My favorite band, the reason why they're my favorite band of all time, because they never played it safe until now. They were always trying to be different. They were always trying to change things up. And this album, it just sort of goes back to kind of like Money Star a little bit, but with like, it's like everything they've learned so far. It's a combo of everything, because you hear like bits of like everything on this album from their previous albums, which is simply not as good or as original. I mean, of course, the songs here I really like a lot. That are amazing. Like, Spikes, Warping, Bubbles Buried in This Jungle, Trash, Ring a Bell, Bottomless Pit. They're great songs. Like, Bubbles Buried in This Jungle is probably my favorite track on here. And you have that... Hold on, I just want to say a quick appreciation. There's this one part in Bubbles Buried in This Jungle where he's, like, repeating the phrase, Bubbles Buried in This Jungle. He does it in his normal MC Wright voice, kind of, like, crackles a little bit, and then it's, like, his lower register, and it's like, it's so satisfying. Like, I love... When MC Wright goes in his lower register, I, like, cybercome. It's like, it's so good. I wish he would do it more often, but then it would kind of be worse than... But like when you occasionally go in that lower register, it's like, I love it so much. It's so satisfying.
You guys are okay, kind of making me go negative too, even though I do enjoy this album a fair bit. But yeah, this definitely feels like if you put like every Death Grips album in a food processor and then like made an album out of like the shitty water that was left over from that. But I don't mind this album. Like, it's decent. And again, there are, like, I agree with Matty. There are a lot of songs I like on here. Like, Spikes through the rest of the album basically is a solid run of tracks. But the disappointing thing is that that's just kind of it. And, like, AJ kind of got off it right off the top. I was going to try and save this for, like, my conclusion. But this is the first Death Grips album to me that doesn't feel necessary. And that's a weird place for, like, such a necessary band to be. Like, every little move they made felt vital to, like, the narrative of what this band was going to become. And so it's weird to see Death Grips in a phase of like, yeah, we made another album and that's it. And like, it's okay, but it doesn't feel like anything that's special coming from Death Grips. It just feels like more all right to pretty good Death Grips.
I mean, at times it definitely feels like a parody of Death Grips in some ways. It feels like I'm listening to like Nah or some shit at times. Which again, I think, like I said, I like this album. Let me make that very clear. I like this album overall. If I had to give it a rating, I'll just get my rating out of the way. I give it like an 8, 7.5 out of 10. It'll most likely end up in like my top 20 at the end of the year. But that's the bad thing though. It's gonna end up on my top 20. It should be in my top 5 because it's Death Grips. but
I don't
it's
think.
like,
Yeah, I think this is the first year since 2011 that a Death Grips album won't be in my top 5 of the year.
mm-hmm. And yeah, because I know, like, at first I'm like, AJ, we got in like little tidbits in the chat about, you know, like caring about Death Grips in 2016, and now I'm like, I kind of see why. And like, by the way, Death Grips fans, for the love of God, stop overrating this. Seriously, it's not that. I mean, again, that's your opinion, so I shouldn't really hate on too much.
You don't mean Death Grips fans. You mean Anthony Fantano.
I mean Anthony Fantano.
Sure,
I'll jump on that.
even r/Death Grips, like they're really loving, like they're like, it's like, this is like my favorite Death Grips song. Like, this is my favorite since like the Money Store, and I'm like, are you guys fucking crazy? Like, they're playing. This is such a safe album. Like, it's like, you know, in some ways, like, it's like a refinement of their songwriting, but it's like, yeah, but it's not doing anything like artistically like really different from like their previous stuff. Like, some just feels like it's a culmination of everything, but like maybe in the worst way possible. Not the worst way possible. Like, that'd be. It's in a way. It's just like, it is a combination of everything they've done in a way, not in the best way, not in the worst way, just in a way. Like,
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And like, I will say I enjoyed this album more than Jenny Death, but like, again, like I said, the advantage Jenny Death had is it still felt essential to Death Grips' narrative, because it was like the nail in the coffin and they were going to end, and it felt important that this album came out. And it's weird that this album just sort of exists and that's it, because that feels like the last thing you would be saying about a Death Grips album.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, hopefully,
I feel like we've kind of said everything that can be said about this. Like, we haven't even talked about the album that much, but that's it. The least interesting thing about this album is the album itself.
I mean, yeah, you can't really say much about the tracks on here. Like, I don't know, this track has a pretty weird sampled hook. Ride spit some verses that I didn't really pay that much attention to, and the chorus was great. Repeat that 8 times after Hothead, and like, that's pretty much all you can summarize it by. And like, I would say, I mean, to give it a bit of praise, like, 3 Bedrooms in a Good Neighborhood and like the chorus of Ring a Bell are the closest on this album that I feel like Death Grips came to something new for their sound, but even then it didn't feel fully materialized in the way that you would want. And I hope it does. Like Matty said, if this is a transitional album, like, I want their next project to be like more abstract than Redacted on the Moon or Government Plates. Like, I want it to be so out there that like even I don't want to know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess I'll talk about like some of the tracks as we're not really, again, like I said, getting back to good ideas. Already talked about Hothead, great single. It's probably like the most out there. Like, I think it was a weird first single because I think it got like people like expectations for this album that like they didn't quite make, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's such like an out there like crazy track, and then the rest of the album is like kind of safe in comparison, you know?
Hothead, I didn't like it, and I was surprised it made it on the album. Part of that may have been my experience at the Death Grip show, actually, because what the opening of Hothead sounds like to me was like the mixtape they were playing pre-show of just like these weird, random, like sampled, cut-out noise sounds that were going on and on and on. And maybe that's why I don't like it, because it reminds me of that super abrasive experience. But like, it feels like Death Grips didn't really put their all into this track necessarily.
Mm-hmm. I see that. And Spike's, again, that opening on Spike, like some of these tracks, like they have really great like openings.
Yeah.
Like, but they don't really quite like after the opening. It's like, oh, it's just kind of like after that.
Yeah,
you know?
like I think is probably one of like the best like hooks Death Grips has had since like Get God. Like, it reminds me of the opening of Get God in a really good way, but then the rest of the track just sort of happens.
Mm-hmm. And you know, like the only track, like, and I think like there's some songs here like. I really like Trash. It's sort of like Trash, like reminds me of like Culture Shock a little bit from like Ex-Military. Mm-hmm. Like, and you know, the beat is really good. It kind of stays consistently good throughout, you know, compared to like other tracks. But like, I think the only track on here that I was like, yeah, I don't fuck with this. Like Houdini, I don't fuck with Houdini.
That's one of my favorites. I love that track. I
can't remember. I can't even tell you how it sounds. I mean,
neither can I, which is a fair criticism. But I do remember how much I enjoy it.
In a week, I want you guys to like try and tell me some of the like hooks or choruses.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like
the sound
just won't be able to,
because everyone's saying the sound is like it's like their catchy sound since Money Store, but it's like none of these hooks like really are kind of staying in my head as much.
I think part of that is that this is like Ride's most lyrically inconsequential album. Like, it doesn't matter what he's saying. If you listen to like all their albums basically, and especially on like the Money Store and Redacted on the Moon, like it matters what he's saying in these songs. And like, I haven't really I tried actually when I was listening to it today to give the lyrics to this album a look just to see if that added to it at all, and it really didn't. It feels like he's just like spitting to fill up the verses, and then the chorus is pretty good, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is super disappointing coming from like what I think is one of the most underrated rappers of the decade. Like,
Yeah.
people don't give Ride credit for
Oh yeah, for sure.
as good as he
Fucking-
is and as forward thinking as he is. And it's sad to see him not live up to that like expectation on this album.
Yeah, because like, you know, you have songs like "Rejected on the Moon" that are just so emotionally like heavy, and like have these really interesting ideas, like, you know, "Up My Sleeves," like, oh my god, like that kills me, and then, you know, like "Big Dipper," and like the ending part where it's like, you know, you're her experiment, she's your experience, like that is like such a crazy, like, oh my god, like what, like for me that's just such a crazy bar, like oh my god.
Yeah.
And then it's like even though it's kind of like, it's a little misogynistic, but it's like for Death Grips with the context, it's like, okay, that makes sense for like the type, like in the song itself, like it makes sense in the context. And then Big Dipper, that hook is like the powers that be, in a lot of ways, I feel like maybe this album, like the reason why, you know, Riot is kind of playing it a bit safe, like as like a rapper, is maybe that he felt like he opened up too much on like the powers that be, and he kind of wanted to like, you know, retrace the steps a little bit and kind of bring back the mystique. Because in some ways the powers that be sort of like solidify the mystique of Death Grips, but also kind of, we saw like cracks in that mystique a little bit too, where we saw Riot getting a bit more personal in his lyrics. I mean, on GP, like fucking what? Like,
Well, I think that was a good move on their part, because if they had just kept with that mystique, then the gimmick would have kind of worn out like it does here. Like, I don't know, it feels like less good versions of the lyrics on the Money Store.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just I think we've said everything we can say about this album. Head ratings, my head rating would be let's see, it'd just be like you know, sitting there like just a really neutral face, just kind of smiling, like just like a really slight smile, like these are good, but in like a week I'm gonna forget, like god, it's weird that like in a month I'm going to like probably forget about like most of this album.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason I've been listening to this album, honestly, is because of the podcast. Because I think because the Radiohead album was originally going to be, you know, this episode right here. But then we said, oh, we're going to do Radiohead. And that's the only time I really listen to this album, is like just to make sure like I know what I'm talking about in the podcast. But like in a month, I'm not going to be interested at all to listen to this album. And that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Step your fucking game up, guys. What do you guys, your head ratings or just ratings in general?
I'd give it like 7 out of 10 girls wearing that pleated Money Store artwork skirt.
Nice.
I give a very stern, shaken head from a disappointed dad.
That sounds very appropriate.
Yeah.
Step your fucking game up, Death Grips. We know you're better than this. Look, Death Grips. I'm not gonna show some video. Okay, I got government plates on vinyl. Okay, I am one of, well, not really 500 people. It's more than, it's like probably less than 500. But I got one of 500 copies of that album. Okay. I got your license plate.
That makes us even for you not getting to go see them live, because you got a copy of Government
I
Plates.
have
like what I wouldn't give to listen to Anne Bonny on vinyl.
Hey,
oh
guess
my
what?
God.
My friend has 2.
Dick.
He went with his girlfriend and was like, "Hey, can you just buy one? Also, I want 2."
Okay, you know what, Death Grips? I have besides this album, which it's not out on vinyl yet. Like I'm actually like I'm still gonna buy it on vinyl probably, because I want to have every Death Grips album on vinyl, because I have to, you know. I didn't get the yellow vinyl or the blue vinyl, which I'm really pissed about, because they fucking sold out like really quickly.
I think I got the yellow. I was gonna wait and see if I liked the album. Like, I hate that this marketing tactic worked on me. I was gonna wait and see if I liked the album before I bought it on vinyl, and then it was like extra limited yellow copy, and I was like, I woke up at 1 a.m. and was like, oh, gotta buy it now.
You better give it to me. I want it. Yeah, you won't though, but hopefully hopefully someone sells them like Discogs for like a decent price, because I'll probably buy it then.
The yellow's pretty common. Like, the yellow pressing was 20 or like 3,000 or something, which is pretty big.
I think
it was the blue that was super rare. The blue was limited to like 500.
Yeah, so hopefully I can get snap one of those copies. But yeah, Death Grip, step it up, please. You're better than this. I mean, honestly, it'd be really nice if they come out with an album like really quickly after. Like, it wouldn't really surprise me. The thing is, because apparently they're not like touring that much this year. From what I'm hearing, is like they're not going to do that much touring. So hopefully we can get like in like quick succession. That'd be kind of cool, but probably not going to happen. They're probably going to like announce a tour like real soon. But yeah, step it up. Okay, anyways,
Maybe they'll tour with Rage Against the Machine.
Oh my god.
Then they'll break up again. That's no good.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Anyways, onto an album that feels a lot more essential. James Blake, The Color in Anything. All right.
Yes.
All right, so James Blake. The Color in Anything is the third studio album from James Blake, who is an English singer-songwriter and producer. What a hunk. What a hunk. So James Blake has been around in the scene since around like 08, 09. Originally started off as sort of like a dubstep producer, not the dubstep you're thinking of, like Skrillex and shit. We're talking like burial type shit, you know, UK dubstep.
Mm-hmm.
Started off in there, dropped a couple great EPs, and then 2011 dropped his self-titled debut album, which, you know, kind of broke away from those EPs as he was singing on the album. He was singing. You could hear his voice, and it was a fucking fantastic debut album. One of the best debut albums of all time, in my opinion. It's fucking awesome, where an artist really establishes who he is, like, right away from the get-go. You know, which kind of, it's just like, it's like, it's actually kind of funny we're talking about self-titled, because we'll probably talk about another debut that kind of is very similar, like, in 2 days. Anyways, so 2011 drops self-titled. It's fucking amazing. Go listen to it. I actually did a write-up for it, the first For Your Consideration write-up on Indieheads. Go read that shit. And then, you know, 2011 dropped, I think he dropped like 2 EPs, an instrumental EP, and then Enough Thunder, which was kind of like which ended up being kind of like the bridge between the self-titled and Overgrown, which Overgrown was the second album. Really showed off his more, like, really tried to refine his songwriting chops on that album. Kind of broke away a little bit from like the experimental electronic production and kind of went for more focusing on like himself as like a singer and also as sort of like a songwriter, where the production isn't as like crazy insane, but still is like still really good. And Overgrown is actually my personal favorite James Blake album, and at the time in 2013 was my album of the year. Of course, now that my 2013 album of the year goes to Dean Blunt, the Redeemer. Fuck you, AJ. Fuck you. Because I know you're about to say some shit. And it was
James Blake.
Overgrown, and then of course now we've been waiting for 3 years for a James Blake album. He dropped like He dropped the 200 press EP in like 2014, and that was all right. But it was kind of like, this is not really what I want from James Blake. I want a fucking album, James Blake. You know what I want? I want an album. Okay, you tell me album. Like, wait, it'll probably come out in like spring 2015. Okay, James, I want it. Spring 2015 rolls by, nothing. Rest of the year rolls by, nothing. We hear nothing. Little tidbits here and there, but like nothing, man. Nothing. Then 2016 rolls around. We start to hear a little bit more. A couple singles drop. Modern Soul, great single. Fucking awesome. It's on this album. It's amazing. Sounds great in the context of the record. Timeless, fucking amazing track. Was originally supposed to feature Kanye, but then James Blake was like late to his house and they never did the feature. Great song anyways. Sounds like the Kanye verse would have been nice, but, you know, probably better without it, to be honest. You know, knowing Kanye as a rapper in 2016. And then, you know, like 2 weeks ago, goes on like BBC Radio. Is like, oh yeah, I'm dropping an album tonight. Yeah, it's happening. Here's like 3 singles. They're all fantastic. And the album drops, and it's like, oh shit. 3 years, okay? My narrative for 2 years.
Emphasis on Matty's narrative.
My narrative.
Matty's dream every night.
My dream. Radio silence.
Like, didn't you say this was going to be on the very first podcast? You were like, guys, James Blake's going to have, like, Radio Silence is going to be album of the year 2015.
It was probably the second podcast. It was probably the second podcast, or maybe the first.
You kept that up like every single day. Like the last podcast we did, you're like, I don't know if I want to do the 2015 year in review because Radio Silence hasn't dropped yet. Like, it's come. You said it was coming.
So the narrative since the first podcast or the second podcast has always been Radio Silence album of the year. But of course now it's not Radio Silence anymore. Now it's The Color Anything. And so the Color Anything album of the year, does it live up to the narrative? Does it live up to my narrative? The answer? Yes, it does. This album is fucking amazing. It's the album of the year. It is. I'm going to nerd out a little bit. I know you guys don't want to be talking about for more than 3 minutes at a time, but I'm going to do it anyways because I know you're loving it too, Stefan. AJ, I'm not sure about you. I think you're getting ready to shit on it. I'm going to keep you from doing that as long as possible because I let you have your moment. I let you have your moment with Death Grips to shit on them. Okay.
When you let me out of the gates, you'll see.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
This album, it came at like a perfect time for me. As if you guys don't know, I'm depressed. All right, I'm doing a little better now, you know, than I was like when this album dropped. But I'm doing a little better. When this album dropped, like I needed this album because like, you know who I missed? I was missing my ex-girlfriend. I was like, shit, I made a mistake. I never should have broke up with her, or we should have never broken up. I'm not friends with her anymore. It's like, and then, you know, Radio Silence, that intro track, like when it came out, you know, like it was originally like he performed it live. It was good, and you know, like it crushed me a little bit. But the studio version, like I listened to the song and like My Willing Heart on repeat, and I was just like, fuck, I really want to text my ex-girlfriend right now. Like I really want to text her. It was just like so incredible that track. Just God, the lyrics, which by the way I think it takes from like it samples a Bill Withers track, like it takes from the lyrics from that song and sort of like repurposes them on this track, and it's amazing. The lyric, I can't believe this. You don't want to see me. It's like, fuck my heart. Like I'm gonna have a goddamn heart attack because I feel this too much, And sorry, I don't know how you feel. Like, you're hurting me, James. I'm being hurt right now. Stop this, please, but don't stop. I really want to feel these feelings right now, okay? But this first listen, like every track here, like, and I still say this, despite this album, it's like, by the way, it's like 17 songs and it's like an hour. No, it's like 76 minutes long. There is not a bad track on here. Every song here is essential and fits. Every song is good. And I don't really, and usually I'm not a fan of long albums. There's exceptions, obviously, Swans to Be Kind, To Pimp a Butterfly, Powers That Be even, but that's a double album, so it's kind of like doesn't really count. 17 tracks, 76 minutes, not a bad moment on here. There's some moments here where I'm kind of like on, like if there's any song in here that I'm like, that's my least favorite, it's probably like Noise Above Our Heads, because it's like 5 minutes and it really should only be like 3 minutes. But still, though,
how I feel about Two Men Down, by the way.
We'll get into that. But like every song here is perfect, and like, okay, not perfect is going too far. But every song here feels like it fits on here, and it should be here. It's like every song is good. Of course, there's certain songs are better than
tracks
others.
I'm lukewarm on. Like they still, I want to hear them. Like I wouldn't cut any track from this album.
Yeah. And just like there's so many, again, also this album, it's also like a really interesting album, from like James Blake's perspective, as this is his first album where he really was like, before he didn't really do many collaborations with people. Like he mostly kind of stuck with himself. Overgrown has an exception with like Brian Eno like helped produce one track on there. I think it was Digital Lion. But this album is notable as James Blake kind of gets some co-production help from Rick Rubin and get some songwriting help, or get some lyrical and songwriting help from Frank Ocean, and Bon Iver shows up on a track and does a feature. Oh yeah, I forgot that RZA did a feature on Overgrown, but like
it's okay that you forgot that.
It's a good feature though. It's a good feature though. I like that feature.
It's okay.
But anyways,
it's not bad, but it's fun to shit on it.
But yeah, of course, also it's like very generic, like English, like fish and chips with a vinegar. Like, did you just look up, like, could you just Google UK things on like
that is
RZA?
My exact way I describe that verse anytime I'm talking to someone about it. Thank you for validating that opinion.
Anyways, okay.
I can hop in.
AJ, what do you want to say?
I want to say that comparing this to James Blake's projects in the past and then looking at it as a 76-minute album releasing in 2016, everything, and like, the whole like, here comes this album, like I'm doing it tonight, everything stacked against this album is a warning flag, sort of. It's coming out of nowhere. It's extremely long, and we haven't heard much about it. Like, we're not sure if this is a reworked album from what we had before, and it defies all of those odds. And I think it is far and away James Blake's, and probably will go on to be like the definitive James Blake project.
Oh shit!
Oh my god, we all love this album.
Yeah,
AJ, he just pulled a swerve on us. He just pulled a goddamn swerve on us. AJ loves this album just like the rest of us. Swerve, bitch.
You guys should be. I posted my list the other day. This is my third favorite album of the year.
Shit. Oh shit! I did not see that.
Wait,
shit. AJ just swerved on us. I thought he was going to be hating on this album, but it's like, oh shit, we all love it here.
Oh boy.
Okay,
this is fantastic.
I'm going to talk about my narrative for this album.
You talk about it.
I have like kind of a mixture of Matty's and AJ's, and that like, yeah, I found out about James Blake when the self-titled dropped. Enjoy some standout tracks from that album, but I didn't love it as much as like a lot of people seem to front to back, like as an album. Overgrown, I thought was like a significant step up. That was a great album. I think I put it at like 12 or 13 in my top 25 of the year that year. Liked it a lot. And then after the radio silence thing happened, I just kind of clocked out. And this album is like a perfect case study in why I support this method of like abstaining from any pre-release hype. Because I went to this album not listening to any of the singles. I had stayed away from it. I was like, okay, the album's out. Great. I'm excited to listen to it. I'm going to put it on. And like within the first 10 seconds of radio silence, I was like, this might be album of the year. And then Points came on, and I was like, oh, this is album of the year, which is an opinion I've since cooled on. But oh my god, it's so good. It's definitely his best album, and I think will be seen as like his crowning achievement in a couple of years. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so my thing is that I think both Overgrown and the self-titled, I love both of them. They both felt like teasers to me, sort of, in that they're both fantastic and like definitely stood on their own before this, but now, especially going back to them, it just feels like, oh, he was on the cusp. He was trying all of these things out. Like, what I really admire about the Color in Anything more than both of his other projects is he is definitely more forefront as a vocalist. The other two sort of felt like these big projects that he produced and oversaw every aspect of, and like Matty was talking about, he steps back a little bit, I think, on the production side, which is really good, but also steps forward sort of as, it's almost more of a singer-songwriter project than I see it as like an electronic music project, which is what his other stuff was a lot like. But the vocal performances on this thing are fantastic, and James Blake's strong suit has always been, to me, his voice. Like, he's a genius on the producer side as well, but I think his voice has always been what I love the most about James Blake, and he uses it so well here. And I mean, we can't even get into it, but there are so many like quotable, cutting, just like fuck lines on this thing. Like, every single song has a moment where I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Every song is 3 for me. Yeah, I want to touch on that. Like, man, looking at the comments online, some of the people shitting on the lyrics in this record, it's like,
are you insane?
Could you? Yeah, like, this is his best work lyrically, and like as a singer-songwriter, that it, like, I don't know, people are like, oh, they're very simple, like there's a lot of repetition. It's like, but the way James Blake is able to craft a line that is like not only poetic on its own terms, but like that he can sing that line 3 different times and it takes on 3 completely different connotations is incredible. And that's part of what, like, the lyrics sell this album for me, honestly, because the narrative of this album is so like strong and compelling and like eloquently delivered. And like I've said on Twitter, like, I've compared this album to it's 2016 Vulnerable. Like, he's profiling his breakup and he's doing it in such like a raw and vulnerable and revelatory way, and the outcome is just like gobstopping. Like, I agree with AJ. There's so many moments on this album where like I just have to take a moment and be like, Jesus Christ.
But despite all
Stop
of
hurting
that too,
me, James Blake. Stop hurting me. It hurts, but like, please do it. I really need to be emotionally abused right now by you. I really like this, but stop it. That's how I feel.
I think this is also definitely the like, I think it's an incredibly like happy and optimistic record too, though, even though you know, it is very kind of like melancholy and like moody. Just like something about it just was very, very, like, I think that the sort of, this is a difference from Volunteer. I think sort of he's separated from the trauma and like the trouble that is clearly talked about so much on all this. I think time wise, I think he's much farther away from that than Bjork was on Volunteer. And like the way, maybe that's why he took so long to rework what was called Radio Silence, is just because I think tonally, the way this is presented and everything, the way it progresses and the conclusion it comes to, it all feels very kind of like finality and accepting to it, almost working through the stages of, you know, denial, acceptance, and all of that stuff. But it feels like it comes to a confident and like very, I think by the end of this, I don't see James Blake as like, man, James Blake is like depressed and we should be worried about James Blake. I'm like, man, James Blake went through some shit and like got an incredible album out of it and he's over it. And that's the way I see it. I don't know if you have a similar feeling, Matty.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I totally
I
agree.
think that's exactly the way this album progresses, is like, yeah, to delve a little more in depth into the Volunteer compression, like, it starts, I can't believe this, you don't want to see me. Like, we see, like, zoom in on James Blake and his relationship is on the rocks. And this is another, like, this is my own personal theory about the album, but I do think it is kind of a double album. And the double album, like, works in the 2 halves of that sort of recovery process, and that the first half, you're charting the relationship falling apart up until Waves No Shores, which I think is kind of the moment, like, where within the narrative of the album, the breakup happens, and then everything after that, like, is sort of the process of recovery, and it ends on this, like, beautiful, melancholic yet optimistic note, and it makes the narrative so, like, yeah, final and conclusive and rewarding, and it's part of what makes this album more than worth, you know, the 76 minutes you have to put into this. Like, this is an album that I feel like it's almost necessary to listen to in one sitting. Like,
oh yeah, like, it's 76 minutes, but like, it doesn't feel like it, like, when you listen to this, because like, you listen to this in one sitting, you're like, wait, that was 76 minutes, because every track here is good and essential and it fits and it needs to be here.
I absolutely agree with that. There's almost no, like, if you want to get down to the filler on this album, it's maybe like 2 minutes total. I think if you like tried and chopped and, you know, you could cut maybe 2 minutes off of it total. I'm actually able to, this is what I want to get out, because I was actually looking for this through the lyrics. I'm able to pinpoint my favorite moment on the entire album, and just like, oh, I love it so much on Choose Me. It's exactly 1 minute and 18 seconds in, and it's where his vocals in the background, and he just kind of screams
yes.
like, I know there are places I can't go with you, and I'm just like, that's the one. Like, that is the moment on this album that basically sums the whole thing up for me, and I love that so much. And it's like a driven,
can we just
passionate vocal performance.
Let's talk about some. I want to talk about some individual tracks real quick, because like there's so many good cuts in here. And also the thing this album it does really good is that like every track here, it's not like a super cohesive album by any means necessary, but actually that's kind of what makes it great, because you can go back to any track and you're just like, God damn, that sound. It's like every track within the context and on its own sounds great.
Yeah,
and that's like holy shit. Like I want to talk about Forever real quick. I did a review for FadeLouis.com. Go check out there for like some more condensed thoughts on this album. But goddamn, I love Forever so much. It's probably my favorite piano ballad on the album, because it starts off kind of like happy-ish. Like it's still kind of sad, but it's like very like more higher key tones. Like towards like the it's like don't use the word forever. It's like it's kind of melancholy, but it still has a little bit of happiness to it. And as the track goes on, that the chord changes. It goes from like more like happy and more high pitched piano chords to like dark. All of a sudden it's like it goes from like kind of lightish to like, oh shit, this is getting darker, like progressively darker. And those last couple lyrics where it's like, and I know I can still ghost the streets, and like his vocal performance on that, it's just like, oh my god, James, like let me give you a hug, like oh my god, like I feel that way too.
Shit, there's a moment I wonder if I find it, but I think I just know it off memory, and I think it's Forever. When he says like just offhand, like there's a mirror that I don't use anymore.
Yeah, that's a book of the lyrics right now. There's a mirror in my room I never use. While you're away,
oh
I started loving
that
you.
That line gets to me so hard.
Again, the line while you were away, I started loving you is like shit, yes. Like fuck.
And then I also want to talk about Matty posted a hot take today, and I think I Need a Forest Fire is fantastic, and I know you said it was.
It is a fantastic track. Let me tell you, it's a fantastic track. But if I had to pick like We Started songs on here, it'd probably be in like my bottom 3. I would say.
See, it's up there for me as like possibly the best. I think like Radio Silence, I Hope My Life, I Need a Forest Fire, and Two Men Down are like my favorite songs.
I Need a Forest Fire is top 3 for me. Two Men Down is my least favorite, although I have come to appreciate it in a new light. I think the first half of Two Men Down, like when you really listen to the details and the soundcraft going on in that song, even though there's not a whole lot happening musically, it's fantastic. But I just think the section afterwards with the sample goes on a bit too long. Like Matty said, if I could cut 2 minutes off this album, trim a minute off Two Men Down, trim a minute off Always, and you have a perfect record.
Also, I know you mentioned I Hope My Life. Oh god, Fantano. Okay, by the way, can I say fuck you, Anthony Fantano? 5? A 5? My ass, Fantano. We are fighting. I'm gonna fly to Connecticut like in a week, and I'm gonna kick your fucking ass.
He's just objectively wrong.
I'm gonna kick your vegan fucking ass. I'm gonna kick your fat vegan ass, and I'm gonna film it and put it on YouTube. Okay, anyways, Hope My Life. Oh god, dude, when those synths come in where it's like, it's like, it's so good. I just like slid in my chair because it's so good talking about it. I wish I was filming it so you guys could see, but like there's so many moments in here where you just go like not even lyrically, just like the instrumental, you're just like, fuck, oh yeah. And Hope My Life does that. Put That Away and Talk to Me is like also like one of those like fuck tracks, like production wise, where it's like kind of like really like kind of glitchy a little bit in some ways, where it's like and then his like vocal delivery is also really unique and like kind of cool. And of course you have that weird ass sample like that just like that starts like stuttering like oh fuck, what does it say? Stefan, do you know what it says? It's like,
oh, is it I'm Not Living Here Anymore?
No.
It's like really high pitched one at the beginning.
It's Put That Away and Talk to Me, where it's like that weird sample. It's like could you tell me about the early days? Where it does that, and it's like it makes no sense in the song, but it sounds great, so I don't even fucking care.
Actually, hot take. I want to share this. My girlfriend, actually, shout out to the Bay, put forward this theory to me. She read in an interview that like apparently Put That Away and Talk to Me is actually about like, I guess it has to have a double meaning as a song, because I don't know how you interpret that as not being about a relationship, but I guess it's also about like James Blake's own like drug addiction essentially, and like how that sort of paralyzed him in creating this album, that like basically his marijuana use was causing him to feel disconnected from himself, and that like he was lamenting that, and apparently that's a big part of what the song's about, which is pretty cool. But
and also,
I didn't know that.
I saw the gun theory, and I was like, that's it. That's the one.
Or you're gonna, talk about like phones. Like for some reason, like, you're talking about like phones. Like put that phone away and talk to me. But it's like there's so many ways the song can be interpreted, and it's like it sounds. It's all great though, so I don't even care which way you interpret it.
I saw the title originally, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a cheeky song about like put your phone away and talk to me. But it's very much, I think, about talking someone down from suicide.
Really?
Oh yes.
Wow.
Like go read the lyrics.
Shit, I should again because I totally interpreted as phone, but like I don't know, maybe this is just because I'm in a long-term relationship. Like that speaks to me. Like I understand completely what that song is about, and like I empathize hugely with that. I want to go back to the Fantana moments quickly. We got to talk about points. Like we have to talk about points.
Fuck you,
for
Fantana. That is a great track. I hate you.
Points. Okay, I need to rant about points for 2 minutes. Like when the like. He starts singing the vocal, and then it starts looping, and he samples himself, and then you have that like little like, and then the beat. Okay, best song James Blake has ever written, like 100%. That's my favorite James Blake song. Instantly, that song is incredible. Oh,
I can't say favorite James Blake song like ever, but it's a fucking great track. And that no longer her part is like fucking like because it is like no longer her as in you're no longer the the person that I met, or no longer here, like you're no longer where were you? It's like it's so good, and the way it repeats.
Yeah, like I expected myself. I expected myself to cool off on that song, but like I listened to the album in preparation for the podcast today, and that's like that drop still made me have like a friggin' temper tantrum on that couch. That song just kills me. It's incredible. Ugh.
And then right after Love Me in Whatever Way is like, oh man, like hold on, I'm gonna listen to it very quickly on Spotify so I can also the pianos, and it's just so sad, and it's like so desperate, and you're like, James,
tell me where I have to go, and then Love Me There is like possibly lyric of the year. That line is
I feel like lyrics of the year is probably something on Radio Silence, the first track. Like that track still fucks me up completely.
It's crazy too that this album came out like this technically like the same weekend a Moonshaped Pool did, and it was just a very like it was sad boy season. That weekend will officially go down as like sad boy season, I think.
I think May 6th through May 8th is one of the craziest 48 hours I've ever seen in music. If you think of all like the stacked albums that came out on that day, it was unbelievable.
May 2016 is the best month for music of all time. So there's that.
But Death Grips dropped an album, AJ, and it wasn't very good.
I don't give a fuck about Death Grips. On top of all of the good albums that have released, it's also the 50th anniversary of Pet Sounds and Blonde on Blonde, whatever, but Pet Sounds.
And you know what else comes out? It comes out next week, AJ, that you're really hyped about? You want to tell us about it?
Goodness?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's an emo album, and it's going to be one of the best albums of the year.
Fuck the emo reveal. Anyways, back to being emo, James Blake. God, like I said, there's any weak points on this album. I think we're really positive, but I do feel like I have to, like, as a critic, I have to at least say there are some negatives, but they're not like it's like really nitpicky stuff.
Yeah, totally. Like there's some moments that don't like, this is definitely not like a 10 out of 10 album, and I don't think it's even going to be like a classic by any stretch, because there are just weak moments and moments that don't register with people. Like it's not 100% all the way through. But that doesn't really stop me from enjoying like the final product. Like, I don't know, when Meet You in the Maze ends, like I still get chills. And that's like, this is the first album, this is going to be lofty praise, but like, this is the first album since To Pimp a Butterfly I've listened to, and just like, I have to take a moment after it's done and just like allow there to be silence out of respect for like what I've just heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also love the cover art. I think the cover art, like, it's quirky, but it's awesome.
The fact that he got the Roald Dahl art guy, I wish I knew his name off the top, but like
Quentin Blake.
The fact that he got Quentin Blake, that's a big deal. Like that is a connection right there, and like that alone like gives this album a fair amount of stature just from like its visual impact. And I really want to see like the gatefold package for this album and see what the album art's going to be like on the inside, because I don't know if it's anything like the cover. Whew.
Okay, I didn't really get to talk about like the weak points of this album. I think Rick Rubin's influence is definitely like heard, because there's definitely some tracks in here where you listen to it and you like, I feel like there should have been more to this production. Like, production is great, obviously, and usually the way he does it is very minimalistic, because it's just taking out stuff that's unnecessary. But also, that's kind of what made James Blake great, is that he had like these sort of like really dense productions, and was like a signature of him. And for him, these tracks are a bit more minimalistic, and they're not quite as atmospheric as his previous stuff, but it's still like it's a bunch of great songs though. So it's like, can I really complain? But I definitely would have heard in some of these tracks. I definitely was like, maybe I wish there was a little bit more in these tracks production wise. I really wish there was like a bit more density, but still great. So I can't really complain too much. And then that's about. I mean, also the second half. I think the first half's a little bit better than the second half, but still though.
Yeah, I agree. I think basically
I think the first half is. I think like after I Need a Forest Fire could have been everything feels like an epilogue after that to me, sort of, which is in no way a detriment, and it's all still absolutely essential, but it definitely feels like motions of like I Need a Forest Fire definitely feels sort of like a peak to me, and where like a normal album I think would have ended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
but
Noise Above Our...
That's what sets it above.
But this isn't a normal album though. It's a goddamn James Blake album. It's fucking amazing, an album of the year, and so close to a 10, but like not quite because I still have my nitpicks, but like still though, it's like it's so goddamn close to a 10.
I do kind of agree with AJ. Like, I don't know, Noise Above Our Heads, Color and Anything is great. That's a great track. But like, sandwiched in between Noise Above Our Heads and Two Men Down, like, that's probably the weak stretch for me. But then Modern Soul comes on, and you're like, I forgive you for everything, James. This is incredible.
And then Always just sounds great. And then of course Meet in the Maze. You guys already talked about how it's just such a great outro. That sort of reminds me a bit of like Bon Iver's Lost in the Woods or whatever.
Yeah.
Blood. Is it what's the song? Because I know it's a
Blood
song
Bank.
that get. Yeah,
Blood Bank.
It got sampled by Kanye on Lost in the World, so that's why I'm thinking of Lost in the World.
I actually want to gab.
Called Woods.
Yeah, I want to gab about Meet You in the Maze for a bit, just because I kind of had like, I finally understood the implications of that song today when I was listening to it, and that like, as a closer, that song is like James Blake lowering the casket of that relationship into the ground, like he's putting it away and he's acknowledging that it's done and there's closure, like despite the painfulness of this relationship, like. It seems like there's a hint of acknowledgement that, like, no matter what, like, he can't deny the influence of this person on his life, that there's always going to be a place for them in his life, no matter how limited it is. Like, it's a very complex and conflicting and kind of just human and super emotionally resonant way to cap off the album. And yeah, I think it sells the narrative so much.
Mm-hmm. And, also, the music can't be everything. It's also very, like, sort of meta, too, because, like, the reason James, like, it took so long to make this album was the fact that, like, he needed to grow as a person first before he could make this album, because he was trying to make this album, but like he wasn't. Well, he just got to like a point of like writer's block and just couldn't finish it until like he lived life a little bit.
I also have a theory that like some shit went down in the relationship. Like it was already called Radio Silence, but I feel like something really went south, and that was what like. And then it actually ended, and that was what caused him to take a step back and be like, oh no, I'm not done with like this theme in my life. Like I still gotta explore this more.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, is there anything else we're missing? Choose Me. I don't think anyone's mentioned that song. Maybe once, like Choose Me.
I think AJ talked about it.
Choose Me. Oh god. No waves, no shores. Oh god. Just every song here is good, guys. Every song here is good. At the very least, is good, because there's some great fucking tracks in here.
The weakest song on here is still like a 3.5, and the median is like a 4.5 or a 5.
Mm-hmm. Just go listen to this album, guys. It's my album of the year. It'll probably be my album of the year by the end of the year too. I don't see anything else surpassing this for me, because it's just I just want to very briefly talk about music has always been, for me, at least for the past couple of years, has always been sort of a healing tool for me when it comes to life and whatnot, where I've always kind of found a lot of solace in listening to music, and kind of like if you watch my Redeemer review, I kind of talk about that a little bit, where the album. Or Redeemer and also this they find a lot of solace for me, because I went through very emotionally turmoil times in my life, where you have went through a breakup like back in February, and I'm like kind of now just getting in the process of getting over with it, because it's like at first breakups are kind of weird in some ways, because sometimes at first like maybe like 2 weeks or so you're like, oh, I'm completely fine and there's no worries here. And then, like, you reach a point, in May, you end up crying in your car to Sung Tongs because you went on a really bad Tinder date and realized you missed your ex-girlfriend a lot.
I have been there, except with doing bad at comedy. But, oh man, crying to Sung Tongs, summer 2015.
Yay. And so, and this album, it just came out at a very, very perfect time in my life, where I really needed this album. Like, I really fucking need this album. And what James Blake was saying was stuff that I was really, really feeling, and was like, I was really feeling, when it came out, and I still feel today, and this album, I think this album for me really highlights the healing tool, the healing power of music, where sometimes, you try to. Some people, they have a hard time finding solace in certain things where people are depressed and they have nowhere to go. They don't really have like people they could talk to. They don't really have anything they can kind of fall back on. They just kind of are there. And music for me has always sort of been, these past couple of years, has been the thing that I go back to and, really helps me out through hard times and really kind of makes me feel like I'm not alone, Like you listen to an album like The Redeemer or, Overgrown or Volnikura, or even, if we talk about Kendrick Lamar, the song you're not the only one who's feeling these things. You're not the only one who's going through these times, okay? Your experience is unique, but not unique enough that, you can't, that people don't have the same feelings about things. So, yeah, this is my album of the year. I don't really have any head rings. It's just, this is a fucking great album, and thank you, James Blake, for making this, and thank you for making music. I love you, and hopefully I can see you live someday, because I fucking love this album. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Cool. AJ, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking great. It's definitely going to be in my top 10. I feel like critics are sort of already forgetting it. Like, the conversation has already moved on past this album and the Radiohead album, which I find kind of strange. People, I think it's good, actually, in that those albums both just came out and people were like, these albums are fucking great. And that's all anyone had to say about them. And that's really all anyone needed to say about them. We don't have to get these, hot takes. And I really appreciate how, like, sort of, the albums are almost companion pieces in my mind, A Moon-Shaped Pool and The Color and Anything, probably just because of the way they released and the time they released together, but just sort of they're both just like incredible albums from two great established artists, and like there really isn't much that can be said, and like I'm glad we have the personal discussion, like here's what I enjoy about this and this is why I like it and everything, but like you can't dissect this album from a critical standpoint really much more than just saying like, yeah, it's a fucking incredible artistic achievement. Like what more do you want out of 10? What I give it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with everything you guys have said. I love this album right off the bat. I wasn't expecting it to be this good, and it blew me away. Like I think it's James Blake's best album. It's not an album of the year lock for me. I feel like 2016 still has something in store for me. Like
it's
LCD Sound System are still going to put out an album. There's that. But yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if this didn't fall somewhere inside my like top 3, because like you guys said, it's a fantastic project. And for head rating, I don't know, I'll give it like a 9.5 out of 10 gifs of Justin Vernon going woo.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the fucking, can we just have that like little snippet as like the outro of the podcast is just Justin Vernon woo like fading into oblivion?
Sure, why not? I'll do it.
Yeah, we don't need to get two copyright claims. It's
like literally a tiny little snippet. James Blake, these people aren't going to go after us as much as Drake's people are going to go after us.
And that's fair. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll have it. But yeah, that's about it. I literally almost cried like talking about it. Like my final today, I almost just cried because it's just such fucking, because I love this album so much, and it really just ties into my life emotionally. But yeah, let's. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Guess the plugs real quick. Again, make sure to, all the links are in the description where you can, find us on social media. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Symbol. By the way, Android Beta, go download that Android Beta and go follow us. Indieheads podcast. We'll probably be doing a giveaway at 1250 followers, which we actually might get to like within a week if more and more people come in from the Android Beta. So fingers crossed. Let's see, Symbol, Facebook, Twitter. Our WordPress, go check out our WordPress. We have our staff bios. Everything's archived there. So if you just want to download the podcast, you can just go there. Subscribe to us on iTunes. I think we actually recently hit somewhere around like 120 subs on there, which is insane. Why do you guys listen to us? Really, I want to know. Like, why do you guys listen to us? We're fucking terrible. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's about it. We'll see you guys again on Saturday when we talk about Teens of Denial by Carsey Headrest. Yeah. So bye guys.
Album of the year.
We'll see about that. Okay, bye guys.
To be continued.
All right, bye guys.